welcome to my house. Today we're going to be reading one of my very favorite picture books. And I'm actually waiting for a special guest to arrive because I know it's one of his favorite books too. There's the doorbell. Let me go see if that's him. Hi Pete, how are you? Are you here to listen to that story with me? Pete, I'm so happy you're here today. And thanks so much for wearing that mask. You're right, it is a groovy mask. Really? Me too. Pete and I are both missing story times with all of our library friends. But now that he's here, let's have some fun. It's time for our story. Can you guess what that story might be today? Well, you're right, it does have Pete the Cat in it, and it's Pete the Cat and his 4 groovy buttons. It's written by Eric Litwin and it's illustrated by James Dean. And I have the permission of HarperCollins Publishing to read it to you today. So are you ready for the story? Do you have your listening ears on? I know Pete does. Let's get started. Pete the Cat put on his favorite shirt with 4 big, round, colorful, groovy buttons. He loved his buttons so much, he sang a song. My buttons, my 4 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 4 groovy buttons. Pop! Oh no! One of the buttons popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? 3. Can you count them with me? 1, 2, 3. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He kept on singing his song. My buttons, my 3 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 3 groovy buttons. Pop! Oh no! Another button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? 2. Can you count them with me? 1, 2. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He kept on singing his song, and I hope you're singing with me. My buttons, my 2 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 2 groovy buttons. Pop! Oh no! Another button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? 1. Can you count it with me? Right there. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He kept on singing his song. My button, my 1 groovy button. My button, my 1 groovy button. Pop! Oh no! The last button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? 0. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. Pete looked down at his buttonless shirt, and what do you think he saw? What did you see, Pete? His belly button. And he kept on singing his song. My button, still have my belly button. My button, still have my belly button. I guess it simply goes to show that stuff will come and stuff will go. But do we cry? Goodness, no. We keep on singing our song. Buttons come and buttons go. great job listening, and thanks so much for singing with me. Did you like that story, Pete? It's definitely one of my favorites. I wonder who it could be. Hello? Oh, hi, Miss Stacey. Yes, Pete is here. Oh, you want him to come to your house? Pete, can you go to Miss Stacey's house? Okay, he's on his way. Bye. Well, my friend Miss Stacey is waiting for Pete at her house, so it's time for me to say goodbye. I'll see you soon. Make sure you bring your mask with you to Miss Stacey's house, okay, Pete?
Pete! I've missed you! How are you? Come on in! It's so good to see you. I'm so glad you came over. And thank you for wearing a mask. You're right, masks aren't scary. They just stop the spread of germs. Did you have fun at Miss Laura's? I'm so happy. And she read you a fun story? That's your favorite story, right? And now you want a snack? You know, Pete, you're like the mouse, and if you give a mouse a cookie, if you read Pete a story, he's gonna want a snack to go with it. I know just the snack we can make. You wanna come into the kitchen? Okay. Pete, I'm so glad you're baking with me today in my kitchen. We've washed our hands already, right? Yes, we have. I know you read Pete the Cat and his 4 groovy buttons at Miss Laura's house, so I thought we could make button cookies. Does that sound like a good idea? Yay! Let me show you the ingredients we're going to need. We're going to make the cookies from a basic sugar cookie recipe. So we're going to need 2 3/4 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 1/2 cups of sugar, 1 cup of butter that's been softened to room temperature, 1 egg, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and some food dye so we can color your buttons, okay? So we're gonna preheat our oven to 375 degrees. Once we've done that, we're gonna combine some of our dry ingredients. We're gonna take the flour, the baking soda, and the baking powder, and we're gonna whisk that together. Do you think you could help me whisk it? Great. That was a good job. You're a natural in the kitchen. Good job, Pete. Now we're gonna cream our butter and sugar together. So in a stand mixer or hand mixer, we're gonna dump our sugar and our butter. And we're gonna mix it until it's all smooth. Pete, I should mention that if you don't have the time, you can buy the sugar cookie dough already made at the store. But you're a cool cat, and we have lots of time because we're staying home, so that's why we're making it homemade today. Okay, Pete, we beat the butter and sugar together until it's all creamy. Now we're going to add our egg and our teaspoon of vanilla. Once all the ingredients are combined, we're going to carefully add our flour mixture. Okay, Pete, our sugar cookie dough is completed, and we divided the dough into 4 equal parts. Can you help me count them? 1, 2, 3, 4. Good job. We're going to put a little food color in each of these bowls to turn the buttons different colors. You can use any colors you want, or you don't even have to color them at all. So let's see. What's this first color? Blue, you're right. Do you remember when you wore your white shoes? What did you step in to turn your shoes blue? Blueberries, you're right. So let's put in a few drops of blue. Now, Pete, you can mix this with a spoon, but I actually prefer to get a glove and mix it with my hand. So that's what we're gonna do today. Okay, the blue one is done. Now we're gonna do our next color. What color is this, Pete? You're right, yellow. Let's put some yellow in here. Okay, there's our yellow. What's our next color? Do you know what it is? Red, good job. Do you remember when you were wearing your white shoes? What did you step in to make your shoes red? Strawberries. You're so silly, Pete. So we're gonna put in a few drops of red and mix that all together. Okay, now we finished red, and for our last color today, what do we have? Green, good job. Can you think of anything that's green, Pete? Yes, green grass, that's a good one. Limes are green, that's a good one. Let's mix this all together. So we have our cookie sheet lined with parchment paper. That's right, that's what Miss Stacey always says. Parchment paper is your best friend. We're gonna take about a teaspoon of dough and roll it into a ball. And we're gonna put it on our cookie sheet. I like to make different colors on one cookie sheet. Makes it seem like a rainbow, so that's what we're gonna do. All right, so all our cookie dough balls are on the sheet. These cookies spread, so we don't want to crowd the pan. We're going to cook them for about 8 to 9 minutes, just till they start getting crunchy, and then we're going to make the buttons. Are you ready? Okay, Pete, the cookies are almost done. And to make the button effect, we're gonna take something with a small circle. So I'm actually using a cup from like a medicine cup. And you're also gonna need something to poke the 4 holes of the button with. I'm using a skewer that you would use for kebabs on the barbecue. So let's see how we do it. Let me show you. They all look like buttons. We're gonna put them back in the oven for about 2 or 3 more minutes, just till they set up nice and crunchy. Well, Pete, I really enjoyed having you come over to bake with me today. Our cookies have cooled and we're ready for our snack. Do you wanna try one? Let's see how they taste. Those cookies were good, huh, Pete? I agree. I think it's time for a nap. What does Pete always say? It's all good. Bye, Pete. Thanks for coming over.